To give you a heads up on what to expect. There are 15 matching set up into two matching. They're split up. Okay, 1 through 7, 8 through 15. Two matching sections. Okay, well that's the easiest part of the test. Okay, then to fill in the blanks. 11. Yeah, I don't know how many there are. Multiple choice. $15 multiple choice. Eight true and false. Okay. Then there's a 5-point short answer over gerrymandering. And then 6 1-point questions. Then your essay. This test is a beast. No. Okay. You ready? You ready? Congressional oversight. This is where the legislative branch watches what the executive branch is doing. They investigate the executive branch. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Alexander Mayorkas, has been impeached by the House of Representatives, not securing the border, not doing his job. He's part of the executive branch. The Congress, the legislative branch, is the one that is impeaching him. Yo, catch. We have a testimony. That is congressional oversight. The Congress is investigating Joe Biden and his business ventures with his son and his brother. Congressional oversight. Solomon. Okay. Interest groups. Let me define interest groups for you. Group of people who act together to achieve shared political goals. Group of people that act together to achieve shared political goals. These are factions, what Madison talked about in Federalist number 10. National Rifle Association, National Right to Life. These are interest groups. The Dairy Farmers of America, interest groups. Okay? Now, immunity. Members of Congress cannot be sued for what they say while conducting business. They can libel you, they can slander you, they can't be sued. They have immunity from that. Also remember, they can't be arrested on their way to or from session of Congress unless it's a serious crime. So they have some sorts of immunity. What's next? Okay, let's look at a couple different things here, guys. We're talking about the Electoral College. Two things I want to focus on. One, how do we arrive at that number? Kansas has 6 Electoral College votes. How do we arrive at that number? Population gives us 4 members of the House plus 2 senators. So your total number of members of Congress is how many electors you have. North Dakota is guaranteed, every state is guaranteed 1 member of the House. And every state is guaranteed 2 senators. North Dakota, Alaska, 3. Okay? We have 4 members of the House, 2 senators. That's how you get to that. Now, how many total members of the Electoral College are there? 538. You got 435 plus 100 senators plus 3 for DC. Correct? Correct? Yeah. Divide that in half, you get 269. In order to win the presidency, you need 270. That's the magic number, right? What if nobody gets to 270? Who chooses who the president is? The House of Representatives. Remember, this has happened twice. Thomas Jefferson and John Quincy Adams were both elected by the House of Representatives. We talked about this, how Kansas has 4 members of the House. 3 of them are Republican. 1 is a Democrat. Kansas votes for the Republican. California votes for the Democrat. You go down the list, 26 states, you got your winner. Not a good day to sleep. Okay. Constituents. We're all constituents, yes, of our members of Congress. People that live in a congressperson's district are constituents. We live in the 4th district. We are all constituents of Ron Estes. Who? Ron Estes. We'll need to know his name for the test. Who represents the 4th district of Kansas for us? Ron Estes. Who are our 2 senators? Rand and Marshall. Last names suffice. You don't need to know first name. It's like Jeopardy. House and Senate requirements. How old do you have to be to run for the House? 25. How long do you have to be a U.S. citizen to run for the House? 7 years. The Senate is 30 and 9 years. 25 and 7, 30 and 9. Requirements. And you have to live the state or district that you represent. Those are the only requirements. Ex post facto, one of your key terms. Ex post facto laws are laws that apply to an action that took place before the law was passed. Ex post facto laws apply to an action that took place before the law was passed. Today, it's legal to use tobacco. If Congress banned tobacco in the United States tomorrow, could they fine you for using tobacco yesterday? No, that would be an ex post facto law. Yes? It's legal to gamble at 18 in Oklahoma. If they change it to 21, can they fine you for playing gambling last week? No, ex post facto. Franking privilege simply means free mail for members of Congress. They can mail letters, newsletters, free. Franking privilege. The word impeachment means what? You formally what? Formally accuse Which of the two houses impeaches? The House or the Senate? The House impeaches. Senate has the trial. Cash, what are we talking about? Okay. Talk about impeachment. Talk about political action committees or PACs. That's what PACs stand for.
What was it?
Political action committees. They are the fundraising, put a dollar sign, fundraising wings of interest groups. The fundraising wings of interest groups. Political action committees. They raise money for interest groups. Apportion means to allocate. And every 10 years, we do a what? A census, and we allocate the 435 seats or apportion them. Texas gets a bunch, Florida gets a bunch, California gets a bunch, New York gets a bunch, North Dakota gets one, South Dakota gets one. Or, yeah, they get one House seat. We get 4. It's called apportionment. Allocate the 435 seats after the census. Good? A district is a political boundary. We live in the 4th District of Kansas. Political boundary. Census. Population count every 10 years. Why did Joseph and Mary go to Bethlehem? For the census. It's been around a long time. Yeah, I just brought Christianity into the government class to see how I did that. Cross-curricular learning. Constituents, we got that twice. You can cross that one off, Major. The second constituents. Okay. Congressional powers. House has special powers, right? Anytime they're going to spend your money, it's got to start in the House. The House impeaches and elects president if there's no majority. If no majority in the electoral college. Senate. Impeachment trial. And they approve appointments by the president. President appoints federal judges, ambassadors, heads of cabinet members. The Senate has to approve these in treaties. This pen is done. Next. The face of Congress still looks like me. Remember that first day I pulled up how the 118th Congress is the most diverse Congress we've ever had. More women than ever, more minorities than ever, but still, majority of members of Congress look like Mr. Ebright, who is a white male Protestant. That is educated. Not rich though. Though my wife got the tax stuff back from the accountant. We owe $35,000 to the IRS. I guess we're not paying enough each month, so. This is the investments that we have and stuff. Crazy! Hey, somebody's got to pay for other people's stuff. Any of you guys on public assistance, I'm helping. Or bought you lunch. Okay, Westbury versus Sanders, 1964. Okay. Got two options here, guys. We could draw our districts like this. We could draw them like this. What's the difference? Each, under Westbury versus Sanders, they call it one person, one vote. That's the precedent. One person, one vote. So we used to be able to draw them like this, not any longer. Each one of these has 780,000 people in it. One person, one vote. Westbury versus Sanders. Okay. Terms in office. How long is a House term? 2 years. How long is a Senate term? 6 years. That's easy. Don't miss that. Express powers. Can anybody name an express power of Congress? Power to make money. What you say? Coin money? What you say? Make laws? Make war? Declare war? Coin money? Build post offices? Postal roads? A couple of express powers. Power to tax. Okay. Those are written in the Constitution, right? Express power. Okay. Presidential appointments must be approved by whom? Don't say Congress. Senate. Okay, it's right here. Senate must approve presidential appointments. Okay? What kind of people does the president appoint? Cabinet, federal judges, ambassadors, consuls, these type of things. Heads of different agencies. IRS, FBI, CIA. President appoints those people. The Senate must approve them. Davis versus Vandermeer, 1986. Extreme cases of gerrymandering are unconstitutional. Extreme cases of gerrymandering, unconstitutional. You guys remember what gerrymandering is? Where you draw these districts to favor one political party over another. Okay, we'll talk more about it in a little bit. Okay, the vice president is the president of the Senate. Vice president is the president of the Senate. Their only key role in the Senate is to do what? Break tie votes. Good. Break tie votes. What's next? Party whip. Okay. Let's do this. Leadership. Leadership in the House. Leadership in the Senate. The top dog in the House is who? Speaker of the House. Yes? His name is Mike Johnson. You need to know that for the test. Okay? Underneath the speaker is the majority leader. This is also going to be a Republican. Then you have your minority leader. Which party's in the minority in the House? The Democrats. Okay. Then you have your majority and minority whips. But everybody know what a whip is, right? So, guys, did anybody hear about Iran attacking Israel this weekend? That's it? Pendergrass, you didn't hear about this? Did you know Israel shot down 99% of the drones and rockets that Iran fired on Israel? You know who else helped them shoot them down? United States by air, and Jordan, the country of Jordan, which is a Muslim country, also shot down some of them, which is good. So, guys, coming up in Congress, we're going to want to send Israel money, aid, military aid, and Ukraine, right? Military aid. So in the House, Speaker Johnson's going to propose billions, maybe 60 billion or 100 billion to give military aid to Ukraine and Israel. Okay? Now, some Republicans support both, giving money to both countries. Some Republicans only want to give it to Israel. Democrats want to give it to Ukraine. But some Democrats don't want to give it to Israel. So, how do we know how many votes we have for either one of these bills? Ask the whips. The whips are the ones that know how many votes you have. And if they don't have a vote they need, they will try and twist the arm of those members to vote the way the speaker wants, the way the leadership wants. You ever heard the phrase twisting somebody's arm? Or whipping them into shape? This is what the whips do. Okay? Now, let's move over here to the Senate. Senate leadership. The Vice President. The Senate President pro tempore. That's a mouthful. This is the longest serving member of the Senate for the majority party. Currently, this person is Patty Murray of Washington State. She's been in the Senate longer than any other Democrat. Does this give her extraordinary power in the Senate? No. It's a ceremonial position. she is fourth in line to be president. Vice president, second. Then it goes to the speaker. Then it goes here. Now, neither one of these have much power in the Senate. The real power lies with the Senate Majority Leader. This person is Chuck Schumer. Republican or Democrat? Democrat from New York. You need to know this name. And you need to know this name. Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader. Now, there's also a Senate Minority Leader. That's Mitch McConnell. And then you have Senate whips, majority and minority whips as well. Okay. Just know what a whip is. They're a vote counter and they twist arms. He's a Democrat. He's the Senate Majority Leader. Okay. Pocket veto. Remember, 10 days, bill sent to the president, Congress is out of session. It's a pocket veto. Sits on the president's desk for 10 days. Congress is not in session at the end of those 10 days. It's an automatic veto. Now, the importance of the Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader in the Senate. Every bill that is introduced to Congress, those two men get to decide which committee that bill goes to. So they control the fate of every bill introduced. If they don't like it, you're going to send it to a committee where it'll be pigeonholed. Or it won't be put on the calendar and it will die. If they like the bill, they're going to send it to a committee where the chairman is going to put it on the calendar. They're going to have hearings, markup, floor consideration, conference committee, and then send it to the president. So the Speaker refers bills in the House to committee. Majority Leader refers bills to committee in the Senate. Appropriations. Remember what this means, Cash? Means your name. Funding. Okay? Now, guys, there's an appropriations committee in both houses. If a bill's going to spend money, it's got to go through the appropriations committee. Funding. Okay? Majority party. If I were to ask you this question on the test, let me pick on somebody. Pendergrass. I'd ask you this question on the test. Which party controls both houses of Congress? Cash? Which party controls both houses of Congress? Lugo. Which party? Rodriguez. Which party controls both houses of Congress? Marsh.
I couldn't tell you.
Michael. Walker. Neither. Dude, it's right here. Democrat, Republican. Don't miss that on the test. Which party controls both houses? Neither. And Mr. Smith goes to Washington. There was a quorum call, which meant a certain number of people had to be present to conduct business. So in the Senate, that's 51 members must be present to conduct business. So a quorum is a certain number of people present to conduct business. In both houses, generally a majority of the members. Standing committees are permanent committees. Permanent. The Agriculture Committee, Transportation Committee, the Veterans Affairs Committee. They're permanent. There's a list in your notes. Okay, like 20 in the House, 18 in the Senate. Permanent committees. So when a bill is introduced, it's sent to one of those standing committees, which includes the Appropriations Committee, which is a standing committee, as is the House Rules Committee, a standing committee. Underneath those standing committees, you'll find what kind of committees? Subcommittees, which is in the next column, okay, which are smaller, more specialized committees, subcommittees. Smaller, more specialized committees. So the House Agricultural Subcommittee on exports, imports, specialized committees. Now a bill, at the top of the column, just simply means proposed legislation. A bill is a bill until it becomes a law or it dies. Proposed legislation. Okay, moving over to the Senate, a cloture ends a filibuster. How many votes do you need for a cloture? 60. 60 votes, you can pass a cloture, which ends a filibuster. What is a filibuster? It's a delaying tactic. So if a senator gets the floor, they can delay the Senate, prevent it from voting. What's next? Okay. So, before a bill goes to the House floor, there's got to be rules. Remember, are we going to allow amendments? How long are we going to debate this? Because there's 435 people in the House. The House Rules Committee has to be very strict about these types of things. So they have open, closed, and modified when it comes to amendments. Strict rules. So every bill goes to this committee before it goes to the floor for consideration. We don't have one of these in the Senate, just in the House. Because the rules are in the Senate, what? There are no rules, okay? Because there's no rules in the Senate, You can add lots of amendments, which some people would consider wasteful, unnecessary spending, or pork, yes? So pork barrel spending would be wasteful, unnecessary spending. Like $100,000 to study the mating habits of the Japanese quail. I owe $35,000 to the IRS. Do I want it spent on that? No. Okay, the next two are congressional punishments. So, if you get caught cheating 3 times, you will face an expulsion hearing here at the school. Yes? Which means you get kicked out. Censure is a demerit. Or essentially a demerit. Saying, you've been a bad boy or girl. There's no punishment with it. It's just an official statement of being reprimanded for your behavior. Remember, can't impeach members of Congress. You can censure them, you can expel them. Committee hearings. You guys know this one. This is step 2. This is where people are brought in to testify in favor or in opposition to a bill. It can be ordinary citizens, it can be industry experts, it can be celebrities to bring attention to the bill. People testify in favor or opposition to a bill during hearings. Personal staff. Has personal staff grown in Congress over the years? Oh, yeah. Prior to the New Deal, guys, Congress really didn't do that much. The U.S. government didn't really do that much. Didn't need a bunch of staffers. Now, the federal government stuck its nose into pretty much every aspect of life, and so those members of Congress are busy with all kinds of legislation. They need staff to help them with that. Interest groups, that's the second time you can cross that one off. Joint committees, made up of both the House and Senate. These are clerical in nature. Which means like the Joint Committee on Printing, the Joint Committee on the Library of Congress. These are non-political committees. Just clerical, more efficient to do the House and the Senate together in a joint committee. Roll call votes basically means they call every senator by name and they vote by voice. Yay or nay. You can vote present, which means you're on the fence. You have no guts. Voting present. Lame. Most of the time, they just push a little button, yay or nay. It's a roll call vote, they call you out. Okay. Now, pocket veto, I got that on there twice. So let's talk about the line item veto. I'm not sure whether I have this on the test or not, but I'm going to explain it to you. Anyways. In 1994, Republicans controlled Congress, both houses, for the first time in 40 years. In 1994, we had a Democrat as president. His name was Bill Clinton. Yes? Republican Congress wanted to cut spending. Like they were serious. Like, we need to balance the budget. We need to cut spending. There's no way we're going to have $34 trillion in debt. We can't do that. So, a Republican Congress passed something called the line item veto. This is what it looked like. This is the bill. Okay, you send it to the president, pass both houses. All this stuff in here, and then this is where the president can sign it into law or he can veto it. There's a name for the president's signature right there. But the Republicans told Bill Clinton, he said, listen, we want you to cut out any pork that you think we shouldn't be spending money on. So the president can take out this part of it, the president can take this part out, and then sign it. Bill Clinton. This sounds like a good idea. Cut some of that spending that's wasteful. So that senator from Iowa that wanted to build a rainforest as a tourist attraction in Iowa and wanted $30 million for that. The president could say, no, we're not going to spend money. Does anybody see a problem with this constitutional? What problem would that be? Whose job is it to make the laws? Not the president. He can't do this. So as soon as one of those things got cut, actually it was New York City. Bill Clinton said, okay, I'm going to take this money out that was supposed to go to New York City for something. New York City sued, saying the president doesn't have the power to do this. And they won. So the line item veto we had for like 1 year, and it was declared unconstitutional. Good idea, but it violates the Constitution. All right. And then conference committees, which we've talked about multiple times. Just go simple, right? Okay. The House passed 6% tax cut. Senate says that's too much. They say 2% tax cut. Okay. And these both pass. So again, this is version 1. This is version 2. Get a conference committee together. This is step 5 of how a bill becomes a law. And they compromise 4%. That makes sense. You guys all know that, right? We've done that a couple of times, I assume. All right. So, how a bill becomes a law. Let's talk about your essay. Now, guys, I realize this is a big test. The essay is only worth 15. Okay, so you got 6 steps. You give me the 6 steps, that's 6 points. You tell me a little bit about each step, you're up to 12 points. You go the distance. Include the important things for each step. A little intro and a little conclusion, you got 15. These paragraphs do not have to be long. Okay? So 1, referral to committee. Who refers in the House? The Speaker. Who refers in the Senate? Majority Leader. Which committee they refer to determines the length of the bill. Yes? So if they like it, they'll send it to a committee where they know it'll go on the calendar. If they don't like it, they'll send it to a committee where it'll be pigeonholed. Step 1. Step 2, it gets put on the calendar. Now, they're going to have hearings. Now, hearings can take place in the full committee or in subcommittee. People come in and testify in favor and in opposition to the bill. This is a fact-finding mission. Okay? Once you're done with the hearings, now remember, with hearings, you can write just stuff like, hey, ordinary citizens, experts, celebrities brought in to bring attention to it. Okay? Markup. This is where the real work is done. This is where the real debate takes place. So line by line, they got to go through this bill. Genuine debate. Exact phrasing. Then they'll vote on it. If they vote on it and recommend it to the full House, they're going to write a report. This is what most members will decide how they're going to vote. They don't read the whole bill. They read the report, which is a summary of the bill. That takes us to floor consideration. Okay. Remember, in the House, you have the House Rules Committee. Strict rules on debates and amendments. The Senate, there are no rules unless all 100 senators agree. So in the Senate, a unanimous consent agreement, if all 100 vote to place limits on debate and amendments, now we have rules. Without unanimous consent, you can get a filibuster. Which is the delaying tactic. Okay? You can stop a filibuster with a cloture. Okay? Once amendments have been added, debate has taken place, you're going to vote. All you need is a majority in the House, a majority in the Senate. Okay? If a bill passes both houses, it goes to step number 5, which is conference committee. Where they will take version 1 and version 2, reconcile the differences. If a bill makes it this far, guys, there's a really good chance it's going to become law. Okay? So, then you go to 6, which is presidential action. And he's got 4 options. Sign it. Make it a law. Veto. Kill it. Pocket veto. Let it sit on your desk. If Congress is not in session after 10 days, it's a veto and ghost writer. Let it sit on your desk for 10 days. Congress is in session at the end of those 10 days. It automatically becomes law. And that's how a bill becomes a law. I know it's a lot. It's not rocket science. Yes. Let's talk about gerrymandering. Good question. Okay. 1811. Governor Elbridge Gerry of Massachusetts drew a district that looked like a what? Salamander. That's the origin of the term, yes? What does it mean? It means drawing districts. Remember when we did New York? To favor one political party over another. There's two ways to do this. One, concentrate your voters in a district. Concentrate Republican or Democratic voters in a district. The other tactic is to divide your opponent's strengths. So concentrate your strengths in a district or divide your opponent's strengths by splitting them up. Those are the two ways to gerrymander. Okay? $63 points. I don't know how many key terms are on chapter 6. We'll find out on Friday or Thursday. That was a full